Don't try to sneak into your room like that. I know what you've got behind your back. Records. More new records.
And then they opened one in Sausalito in 1972. It operated here until 2009 when it closed, and then it changed hands, was a bunch of different iterations of stuff until it is now back as a recording studio, thankfully. But the important thing to note in that is that there's a lot of geotags and tags and stuff that say the record plant. So around, if you've seen them up, we have QR codes for our actual Instagram. If you could tag that at 2200 Studios. There's a person who owns the name The Record Plant and, you know, doesn't want to relinquish that. So we just want to make sure that we're putting the right actual marketing out there.
And who owns this studio now?
It's an ownership group, but the main owners are Chris Skarakis and Jim Reese. And we've got a little team of people here, and we got it back up and running in the last year or so.
Oh, wow, it's that new.
Yeah. It's only recently that it opened back up and has been fully functional.
And are you in that book about the record plant that just came out? Is that part
I
of
do not, well, everything up until 2009, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
so the old...
the old plant. I think that I don't know if there's mention of 22 in there,
Yeah.
because it was probably being written when all of this was still happening.
Sure.
But what we're going to do is we're going to go through the studio. I'll talk about some of the history. Big thing to note as you're going through is all of the woodwork in this place is insane. And to keep in mind that in the late 60s, recording studios looked like labs. They didn't look like art projects like this one did. So this is super weird still for a studio to look the way it looks, because basically, you know, the owners of the record plant were told that they should open one up here and not do it the way that everyone else is doing it, because everything that's cool is happening in the Bay Area in the late 60s, and they should just let artists be artists. And so they hired all of the woodworkers and the boat builders in Marin County to come build this studio, and they just let them loose. They gave them some specs and said, have fun. And you'll see how much fun they had. Let's head on inside.
And where'd the name come from? The address?
Yeah, so that big 2200 has been painted on the side of the building since it opened.
We weren't able to use the plant for legal reasons, so
Yeah.
we went with 2200.
Yeah. So this entryway, again, admire all of the crazy woodwork, both on the floor, on the walls, the sun that travels across to there, all the portholes that are all very nautical because it's Sausalito. But then also on this wall, all of those little circles you see up there are the invitations to the opening party. So you would have received this in the mail, and you bring it with you, and they nailed it to the wall. You can see some of them have walked off in the past, because there were a lot of famous people here, and I think a lot of people have swooped them.
You mean when it opened as the record plant?
Yeah.
Okay.
So those have been on the wall since '72. So, you know, I think that some of them have gone missing because someone's like, maybe this one was John Lennon's, or whatever it might be. But yeah, those are all pretty cool. We're pretty stoked to still have as many of them up there as we have. Let's go this way.
Yeah, let's go this way.
The lounge isn't all that exciting.
No worries. Yeah. One of the boys in younger days.
Yeah.
Which boys is that?
It's like you're walking to an execution or something here.
The guy who's in front of me.
It's hard to keep going.
Yeah,
Are
totally.
these machines still usable, or are they just...
They are close.
An
A bunch of them need repairs.
Are you going? You plan on resurrecting them? Oh, that's
So
great.
keep filtering
And you
in.
couldn't graduate until you could set these, you get every one of the heads right. It was,
Yeah, totally.
That was not terribly useful
Yeah.
knowledge for kids to know, but we had to do that.
Yeah. So this space used to be a game room, I believe, right? They had pinball out here and whatnot. We're using it as a lounge. There's also a third studio back here that's under construction, so we're not going to go in there. But it's a room where Sly Stone made a handful of records. That's where Prince made his very first record. Was in that room.
It's also where Dreams was written.
Yeah, the song "Dreams" by Fleetwood Mac was written.
Sly used to have this bed that had these giant lips, And in the bed, Stevie Nicks was hanging out with a little Casio keyboard, playing a bossa nova sample, and she wrote Dreams. Right in the other room.
Yeah.
Made it happen.
And I'd like to introduce you to this man who has all the knowledge. This is Matty McDavid. He's our chief engineer here. He's one of the small team that we've got going over here. So yeah, we just wanted to pop in here, talk about that studio for a sec, but also again admire all the incredible woodwork in this building. And then we can filter down this hallway here, which also take your time to admire because it's one of the coolest spaces I've ever seen. So head on down the hall.
That's where your argument makes sense. Vinyl doesn't make sense. That's what it is.
Vinyl makes complete sense.
It doesn't, but it's factually not true. That's where
It's factually true, Jerry. Jerry, it's factually true. It's factually true.
I want to hear this debate.
It makes complete sense.
Here while you guys talk about
That's why all these people are buying records again, Joe, because they've come to realize it factually makes sense. They can stream it for nothing, but they buy the records.
Doing okay. You holding up?
Yep. What about you?
Barely. It's very Topanga Canyon 70.
Okay, this is where Fleetwood Mac Rumours was recorded. Fleetwood Mac Rumours was recorded. A lot of famous records were recorded in this very room.
So this room was like the quintessential 70s sound. We have this drumbrella here, super dry sounding, so really tight, punchy, but also it opens up quite a bit too. We can open up all these curtains and really get a big boombastic sound out of it.
Yeah. When it was originally designed, there was shag carpet on the floors. There were like twice as many clouds on the ceiling. It was super tight and dead in here. And as cool as that is, and as much as it created great records, I'm very glad that they took the shag carpet because it's a much nicer place to record now.
Yeah.
You could only make one sound in here for a while, so it's good that they made that change. A lot of the gear that you see in here, these pianos, the amps, a lot of the outboard gear that you'll see in the control rooms all came from Fantasy Studios in Berkeley when it closed. So we're lucky enough to have a whole bunch of history, not only from our building and these walls, but also having the history of Fantasy Studios here as well. So, the piano next door, that was handpicked by Bill Evans, and lived at Fantasy Studios for a long time, was this piano that was played on Don't Stop Believing, etc., etc. So there's just a crazy amount of history. Who knows whose hands touched some of these pianos? It's very special that we have all of this and all the gear that it was tracked through.
Well, I was just going to say maybe just hang out there. Just coming in and out, talk about all that.
Yes, it's still no studios complete without NS10s.
Oh,
right?
of course.
Oh, you got it.
Gotta have them.
You don't have the tissue modification.
They don't have
the toilet
It's
paper
too expensive.
modification.
Yeah. We don't
The
have
toilet
enough- we
paper
don't
is-
have enough toilet
I know,
paper
it's-
tape to
You've
go
got
around.
doubly, which is good.
Into stuff, right?
Yeah.
Backing into things.
Yeah, we've got too many
Don't mess stuff up.
too many expensive vintage microphones in here to be reckless with our walk-in.
Make sure nobody touches.
Good drum sound, or the drum sound they wanted. So the record label paid to raise the roof up to 32 feet, so you can just, even with all these gobos, you can hear how like cacophonous it is, and it's really lucky for us that they did that because now we have two different sounding rooms. This room also sounds incredible for like soft acoustic music. The room sound in here is amazing. The piano over here in the corner was what I was talking about earlier, the Yamaha C7 that Bill Evans handpicked. Similarly, he wanted to make all his records in Berkeley, didn't want to have to keep traveling to do it. He didn't like their grand piano, so he said, buy a piano that I like. And they said, if you go get one, we'll buy it. And he went to the Yamaha factory in Japan, played like 60 pianos, and said, that's the one. And now we have it. So we're very lucky that it's gorgeous. It's handpicked by one of the greatest jazz pianists of all time. What year was now our little toy? That would have been mid-70s, I think, was when he started making records at Fantasy. We'll hear in a moment what this room sounds like, because we're going to head in there. We're going to head in there in a sec, and you're going to hear the band perform live, so it'll be fun. So, as you can see, a lot of the structure is the same. The sort of like almost UFO shape of the control room, everything. Obviously, the high ceilings allows for way more reverb.
Right.
I don't think there's a parallel surface in this entire room. You can see the ceiling is vaulted. All of the walls, none are parallel, so there's just no slap, there's no bounce in the entire room. Everything disperses and diffuses.
Is this slab underneath?
I believe so. I think that they're both on slabs just for isolation. And it's what's wild is from the home audio and like hi-fi side, this is a nightmare of a room to put a system in because you want it to be more natural sounding. This is a dream to use in recording because it sounds unnatural. It sounds like you're in a cave, right? It's gigantic. So it's this trick of the ear basically that's like, we don't need out of the box reverbs, we don't need plates, we don't need all these other things when you have a room like this. So it's just, you can get to things a lot quicker if the room is right. A lot of people forget that when you're recording, the mic isn't just recording what you put it in front of, it's recording the room it's in as well. So this overhead mic in that room in the exact same position is going to sound way different than in this room because there's going to be so much more bloom.
All our out from LA drove up for this to give us a great treat. They're gonna lay. You're in for a treat.
That's great. We're ready. Thank
Woo, guys, we're excited.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you guys are going there, and then we're gonna get some people in here listening to some tracks. Start filing.
All right, you're rolling.